Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Lyra and Lily with Angela. So I know it's been about a year. I don't know if any of you listened to the last episode. I just deleted it. It was basically me closing down the podcast. As you guys have known, I've done that before. So yeah, I'm back, and I'm really glad to be back. I've had a lot of stuff happen like normal. So what I've kind of really begun to realize is I go through these periods in my life where a lot of stuff happens that pulls me away from my creativity. It pulls me away from, this and really building my life up in the way that I want and the way that I know I can. And then I go through all that shit. I work through it. I learn, I grow, and then I'm like, oh my God, I want my podcast back again. This is where I share my life. This is where I talk about things. Yeah, no, I've also totally given up on getting my stuff back from my ex. So there's gonna be a lot of old episodes missing. But it's okay. We'll just make new ones. I am officially back in my hometown. I have definitely had a rough start here, getting here. Family and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's been hectic and crazy. But, I'm kind of in the same position I was before, mostly by myself. Except for this time, I have a really good friend. Someone who's, very ambitious and driven and dedicated. And they're really great inspiration for me. And so, yeah, that's definitely been part of the reason why I've, been able to get here, besides, the hard work that I put in and having faith. I'm not gonna lie, it's been really tough. I moved back and I opened myself up to family, hoping to grow a relationship that was never really formed. Went through some stuff, made some not so smart decisions, also had other people's not so smart decisions, and just a whirlwind and chaos, and back to me being kind of isolated again. It's kind of crazy how the cycle repeats. But yeah, I guess I'll just jump right in on the first episode. One of the main reasons I really didn't record in the last year was around this time of 2022. I got roped into a harder substance. I'm not gonna go into what it was yet, but yeah, I was trapped in addiction, and maybe one day I'll go into all those experiences of what I thought about and stuff. But I am past my 99 days clean. Every 9th of the month is another milestone, and I'm really proud of myself. It was definitely something that I felt shamed for because, living in the town that I did for 2 years, I was really, really good. I drank and I smoked pot and did mushrooms every once in a while, but, I'd been able to refrain from, like the other shit until my world fell apart. And then, yeah, it was a lot. But, yeah, so here I am. I'm doing a lot better. I'm a lot more focused. I've done a lot more healing. I'm kind of in a kerfuffle with everything. My new place that I got into, it flooded a little bit, but yeah, so it's been a little bit of chaos, but that's okay, because it is, as weird as it sounds, that's just how my life works. Like, sometimes a little bit of extra chaos comes in to, help balance out the other chaos. And yeah, it's pretty interesting, but it's appreciated. And yeah, I don't know. This is kind of a hard first episode. I've been thinking about it for the last few days, and I've been thinking about what would I say, what would I talk about. Um, well, maybe let me see something. Okay, yeah, I'll read this off. So, one of the biggest things for me was, like I said, some shit happened with, my family, my birth mom and my birth grandma. And, I take full accountability for my own side of things. But it's gotten to the point where, my mom would vent to me about, how my grandma would be treating her in certain words. And then, like, twice I had her do the exact same thing to me. And, it really fucked me up, because I was like, what the fuck, But, yeah, so, like, every time I've left a relationship, I've always struggled with that. Like, you get really close with someone physically, emotionally, mentally, and then when you leave that relationship, like, it's really hard. And especially growing up with the attachment style I did with my birth mother. And so when I'm around her, it's her smell, it's just that biological component, like her hug, or, just, that's my mom, right? Like, my brain and my body's like, that's my mom. And so I've been really struggling with that, because I had to remove myself again. Last time was a few years ago, due to similar reasons. And, I've been struggling to eat, I've been struggling to function a little bit, just, it's that biological component of, it's worse than a relationship, because biologically, like, that's my mom. So here we go. I wrote this at 10:40 p.m. January 22nd, 2023. Growth epiphanies. Read if struggling. You got this, future me. Love, Angela Joy. When I'm with my mom, I'm very connected. When we go anywhere, I'm always running after her like a baby bear. She's my mom. Everything in me craves her. I did not receive the proper care as a child, and I developed a strangled connection to my mom. After everything, I've gone back, hoping for growth, the opportunity to stabilize and allow our bond to deepen and breathe. However, I have to acknowledge the fact that this is not possible. I'm currently going through the separation anxiety that comes from leaving her. But I need to save myself, because I'm old enough to be a mama bear myself. It's shitty, but it's growth. I wish her the best. So, like, I don't know if many of you know, but I'm 25. I'm going to be 26 in April. And, one of the things that I always tried to hit home on this podcast is a lot of what I do is because I really want to be a mom. I'm putting myself together, and, like, I don't know how to be a mom, but I do. As much as I've wanted to say, my mom Heather, she was a positive role model. She was like the best mom ever. You know what it was about her? It was the fact that she loved us wholeheartedly. And, like, she tried to show us unconditional love. And since talking with my birth mom, I found out that I was only living with Heather from when I was 3 till I was 9. That's only 6 years of my life. And I was just thinking about this the other day. And I was like, wow, for especially those years, I don't remember much. But for Heather to have made such a huge impact on me and love and what being a mother is for only 6 years of my life, like that's a lot, you know. I mean, I'm only 25, so it's not that much compared to the rest of my life, but you know, I feel really young saying that. But you know, like I've had bits and pieces, and you know, and then my great grandfather, like he was such a beautiful father figure, you know, like just everything about him, like I could feel it, like it was. I don't really remember much about him, but I remember the way he made me feel. And like I said, I'm actually not sure if I've brought this up before on here, but whenever I was in trouble, you know, maybe I'd done something or I was a brat or something, you know, when he talked to me, I never felt like I was being shamed. Like I never felt like I was like being a bad person. I always felt like there's something I could learn from this. There's something I could grow from this. And you know, taking that and then the unconditional love, you know, even though it wasn't perfect, and you know, I'm sure they're not perfect, and I'm definitely not perfect. You know, they've been blueprints. They've been like little stars on my life path, you know? So when I meet people or I get to experience people, whether it's in face to face or it's, you know, content creators or just all these different people, right? Like just all these different experiences that are so possible, you know, like wow. it's it's possible because each time you meet one or you interact with one in one certain way, it it's like a beacon, right? You learn and you grow and you really start to open yourself up, and you see that it's not a delusion and that there are good people, and that it is possible to be a good person. It is possible to love. It is possible to treat people with kindness, and you know, you know, I used to think I was so crazy. I used to ask myself why, like how, you know, how have I been able to kind of be here and be myself, and you know, I learned to stop asking and just embrace it, because you know, I've always been like, you know how they say like people are like the judge, jury, and executioner to other people. Well, I've always pointed that inwards. You know, I've always been the one judging myself, um, executing myself. You know what I mean. Like, how should I say this? Like, you know, if I if I mess up or if I do something wrong, like I take accountability. I mean, I've learned how to go from kind of shaming myself or, you know, using that old form of parenting style that I was surrounded with growing up, you know, where you're a bad person, like you deserve all the shitty shit that's gonna happen to you, like, you know, because you messed up. And it was definitely something hard. It was definitely something that was hard to understand and deal with, and even now, like with what's just gone on recently, like it's been really hard to give myself that extra tender and care. You know, I'm gonna be honest, I've definitely not been the best or the kindest to myself. But it's in those moments that I've started to reevaluate that, and I've remained conscious of it and tried to treat myself better, whether it's I'm dealing with intrusive thoughts of angry thoughts, just random thoughts out of nowhere that are just mean or cruel, that are not, I know that are just because I'm hurting on the inside because of what's just recently gone on, you know, like I know that, and so I don't feel guilty for them because that was a thing in the past, right? I just randomly have like something really cruel pop into my head, and I'd be like, oh my god, where'd this come from? And start panicking, because it's so far from who I am that, when it first started happening again after what recently happened, at first I was like, no, like, what the fuck? Like, that's so not me. Like, I don't want to wish anyone bad or, anything like that. And it's hard because, you know, like, trauma can be really shitty. It can affect you on so many different layers. Like, for me, when I been getting overwhelmed lately, because I've been walking a lot, the more anxious I become, the more my body starts to break down. And I've been having lately where I'll be walking, and just the other day, first it was my left ankle, and then I think it's because I've been walking on the beach though. But like it's perpetuated when I go into like high anxiety and start to panic internally. Which, because the thing is even though I'm consciously, walking and consciously trying to comfort myself and remain happy and positive and put my best foot forward and, say good morning or good afternoon to people, I'm trying not to isolate myself this time, because normally I isolate. Normally I keep myself to myself until I can get emotionally grounded, because I don't want other people to have to deal with it, Like, I don't want them to be impacted by it. But yeah. Well, on another note, because speaking of walking, I'm definitely wanting to get dressed, have a shower, and go for a walk by the beach. So, yeah, also, I'm on TikTok. I'm thinking I might make shorter videos on TikTok and then connect it here. We shall see. I've been making more music. I have this one that I really want to put out. It's called Fruit and Cherries. But I used to take pictures of fruit and cherries, which it's not fruit and cherry season yet, so that one might have to wait. Okay. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.